Right now, the largest voluntary transfer of private capital in modern history is quietly happening behind closed doors. While most of the world is focused on the daily stock market swings, inflation, and political arguments, the ultra wealthy are quietly packed up and moving out. They aren't just shifting their stocks around or changing banks, they're physically changing their flags. They're buying new citizenships, packing up their families, and deserting the traditional capitals of global wealth. According to data from the latest Henley Private Wealth Migration Report, an unprecedented 142,000 millionaires packed up and moved to a new country last year. And this year, that number is projected to skyrocket to a record-breaking 165,000 people. To put that into perspective, when a millionaire relocates with $10 million, it's the economic equivalent of a country generating $10 million in export revenue. It brings in immediate foreign cash, drives up local asset prices, and injects millions into local businesses. But here's the real twist. The places losing the most millionaires aren't unstable developing nations. The biggest losers are the historic, rock-solid economic powerhouses of the Western world. The traditional global hubs, places like London, Paris, and parts of the US, are facing a massive competitiveness crisis. Meanwhile, a handful of unexpected countries have unlocked a secret formula that is turning them into absolute magnets for global cash. So why are the richest people on earth suddenly fleeing the traditional West? Where exactly is all this money flowing? And what do they see coming that the rest of us haven't noticed yet? Let's look at the evidence. To understand where the world is going, we have to first look at who is bleeding the most cash. And the number one loser on the planet right now isn't even close. It's the United Kingdom. The UK is projected to lose a staggering 16,500 millionaires to migration. For decades, London was the ultimate playground for the global elite. It had the perfect time zone, a massive financial center, and an iconic non-down tax status, which basically allowed wealthy foreigners living there to avoid paying UK tax on their overseas income. But post-Brexit chaos, combined with aggressive new tax reforms that are stripping away those old privileges, has completely broken the spell. The wealthy look at the UK right now and see high taxes, political instability, and a sputtering economy. So they're out. Right behind the UK is China, losing an estimated 7,800 millionaires, followed closely by India and South Korea. But if all that money is leaving, where's it landing? The undisputed heavyweight champion of wealth migration right now is the UAE, specifically Dubai. The UAE is pulling in a massive net inflow of nearly 10,000 millionaires in a single year. Why? Because Dubai figured out that if you combine ultra-modern infrastructure, world-class safety, a highly taxable golden visa program, and a flat 0% personal income tax policy, billionaires will literally line up to move their families to the desert. But the list of winners takes a fascinating turn from there. The United States is still holding strong as the number 2 spot, gaining about 7,500 millionaires who are hunting for massive entrepreneurial opportunities. But right behind America are 2 European wildcards that are completely disrupting the game: Italy and Switzerland. Italy, traditionally known for bureaucratic headaches, has quietly become an elite tax haven by offering flat lump sum tax incentive for wealthy foreigners. Combine that with the Mediterranean lifestyle perks, and multimillionaires are fleeing London and New York to buy up historic villas in Tuscany. So what is driving this sudden massive surge in mobility? Why aren't the rich just staying put? It boils down to a massive psychological shift in how the ultra-high net worth individual, someone with $30 million or more in investable wealth, views the world. In the past, no matter how rich you got, you generally stayed rooted in your home country. You paid your taxes, grumbled about the government, and stayed put because your business, your family, and your social status were tied to that specific geography. Today, that loyalty is dead. The ultra-rich are treating countries the exact same way a savvy investor treats a stock portfolio. Wealthy families no longer look at a country as a permanent home. They look at a country as a service provider. If a country provides excellent security, predictable tax rates, great schools, and leaves them alone, they will buy the service. The moment that country starts raising taxes, creating financial uncertainty, or sliding into political chaos, they simply take their business somewhere else. And because the digital economy allows executives and founders to run global empires from a laptop in a lounge anywhere on earth, the physical friction of moving has completely evaporated. Think about what Business Insider recently reported. A massive wave of tech founders, private equity executives, and hedge fund managers are executing a global version of what we saw happen in the US during the pandemic. Just like billionaires fled high tax states like California and New York to Florida and Texas, global billionaires are now fleeing high tax countries like Norway, the UK, and Germany for places like Singapore, Dubai, and Panama. When Norway raised its wealth tax by a seemingly tiny fraction of a percent a couple of years ago, it triggered an immediate exodus of dozens of the country's top billionaires who took billions of dollars in capital straight to Switzerland. The Norwegian government tried to squeeze a bit more revenue out of the richest citizens, and instead, they ended up losing billions in liquid capital overnight. This brings us to the most sophisticated part of this entire trend, a brand new strategy that experts at Henley and Partners call building a sovereign portfolio. If you talk to a wealth manager in 2026, they will tell you that the wealthy individual of today is no longer selecting a single country to live in. Instead, they're constructing a diversified diversified portfolio of citizenships and residencies to protect themselves against future shocks. Dr. Parag Khanna, a leading global strategist, explained it perfectly. The world's most mobile wealth are now making country decisions the exact same way a sovereign wealth fund, a massive state-owned investment fund, allocates capital. They are intentionally spreading their lives across different governance systems, different tax jurisdictions, and different geopolitical zones. For example, a modern tech billionaire might hold US citizenship for business operations, a Portuguese or Italian residency for their European lifestyle and tax benefits, a golden visa in Dubai as a safe haven backup plan, and cash assets sitting safely in a Swiss bank vault. They are building an unbreakable insurance policy against their own home governments. If their home country undergoes a sudden political shift, passes a new aggressive wealth tax, or gets dragged into a geopolitical conflict, they don't have to scramble to find an exit strategy. They just pack a suitcase, open their passport wallet, and board the private jet. They are completely insulated from the localized economic pain that hits everyday citizens. Now, it's very easy to look at all this and think, who cares? This is a luxury problem for a few thousand billionaires. Why does this matter to the average person working a normal job? It matters immensely because money has a massive multiplier effect on the real economy. When thousands of multimillionaires leave a country like the UK, they don't just take their personal bank accounts with them. About 15% of migrating millionaires are entrepreneurs and company founders. When they leave, they move their businesses, their future innovations, and their corporate headquarters with them. That number rises to over 60% when you look at billionaires. They stop paying local corporate taxes. They stop hiring local workers. They stop buying luxury real estate, which causes local property markets to soften, and they stop spending money in high-value local sectors like wealth management, high-end construction, and retail. The departure of the wealthy is a massive leading indicator of deeper economic rot. Millionaires are always the first to notice when a country's economic health is deteriorating, and because they have the financial means to do so, they flee before the storm hits. When you see a massive net outflow of capital from a country, it is a flashing red warning light that economic instability, currency devaluation, or severe tax hikes are coming down the pipeline for the middle class who are left behind. The global competition for capital has changed forever. The nations that realize countries are now in the hospitality business and that they must comply structurally on safety, tax predictability, and lifestyle will thrive. The nations that treat their wealthiest citizens like a captive piggy bank will watch the economic foundation slowly evaporate. The 1% have made their choice. They have detached themselves from geography, built their sovereign portfolios, and voted with their feet. I'm Balaji. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more engaging content. I'll see you next time.